To one who has faith, no explanation is necessary. To one without faith, no explanation is possible. There is nothing on this earth more to be prized than true friendship. If the highest aim of a captain were to preserve his ship, he would keep it in port forever. Good can exist without evil, whereas evil cannot exist without good. Better to illuminate than merely to shine. To deliver to others contemplated truths than merely to contemplate. The things that we love tell us what we are. Sorrow can be alleviated by good sleep, a bath, and a glass of wine. Every judgment of conscience, be it right or wrong, be it about things evil in themselves or morally indifferent, is obligatory in such wise that he who acts against his conscience always sins. Friendship is the source of the greatest pleasures, and without friends even the most agreeable pursuits become tedious. The highest manifestation of life consists in this, that a being governs its own actions. A thing which is always subject to the direction of another is somewhat of a dead thing. All the efforts of the human mind cannot exhaust the essence of a single fly. In order for a war to be just, three things are necessary. First, the authority of the sovereign. Secondly, a just cause. Thirdly, a rightful intention. Faith has to do with things that are not seen and hope with things that are not at hand. If, then, you are looking for the way by which you should go, take Christ, because He Himself is the way. Love takes up where knowledge leaves off. As regards the individual nature, woman is defective and misbegotten, for the active power of the male seed tends to the production of a perfect likeness in the masculine sex, while the production of a woman comes from defect in the active power. It is requisite for the relaxation of the mind that we make use, from time to time, of playful deeds and jokes. Law is nothing other than a certain ordinance of reason for the common good, promulgated by the person who has the care of the community. Reason in man is rather like God in the world. There is but one church in which men find salvation. Just as outside the ark of Noah it was not possible for anyone to be saved, love must precede hatred, and nothing is hated save through being contrary to a suitable thing which is loved. And hence it is that every hatred is caused by love. By nature all men are equal in liberty, but not in other endowments. Three things are necessary for the salvation of man: to know what he ought to believe, to know what he ought to desire, and to know what he ought to do. To convert somebody, go and take them by the hand and guide them. Perfection of moral virtue does not wholly take away the passions, but regulates them. Man should not consider his material possession his own, but as common to all, so as to share them without hesitation when others are in need. Human salvation demands the divine disclosure of truths surpassing reason. Love is a binding force by which another is joined to me and cherished by myself. Well-ordered self-love is right and natural. A leader is a dealer in hope. There are only two forces in the world, the sword and the spirit. In the long run, the sword will always be conquered by the spirit. You must not fight too often with one enemy, or you will teach him all your art of war. Glory is fleeting, but obscurity is forever. If you wish to be a success in the world, promise everything, deliver nothing. The surest way to remain poor is to be an honest man. Men are moved by two levers only: fear and self-interest. Imagination rules the world. History is the version of past events that people have decided to agree upon. 4 hostile newspapers are more to be feared than 1,000 bayonets. The people to fear are not those who disagree with you, but those who disagree with you and are too cowardly to let you know. Nothing is more difficult and therefore more precious than to be able to decide. The battlefield is a scene of constant chaos. The winner will be the one who controls that chaos, both his own and the enemy's. Doctors will have more lives to answer for in the next world than even we generals. Music is the voice that tells us that the human race is greater than it knows. I love power, but it is as an artist that I love it. I love it as a musician loves his violin. to draw out its sounds and chords and harmonies. From the heights of these pyramids, 40 centuries look down on us. Power is my mistress. I have worked too hard at her conquest to allow anyone to take her away from me. A throne is only a bench covered with velvet. I can no longer obey. I have tasted command, and I cannot give it up. Soldiers generally win battles. Generals get credit for them. The first virtue in a soldier is endurance of fatigue. Courage is only the second virtue. The best way to keep one's word is not to give it. There is only one step from the sublime to the ridiculous. Courage is like love. It must have hope for nourishment. If I had to choose a religion, the sun as the universal giver of life would be my God. The herd seek out the great, not for their sake but for their influence, and the great welcome them out of vanity or need. A man will fight harder for his interests than for his rights. It requires more courage to suffer than to die. He who knows how to flatter also knows how to slander. To do all that one is able to do is to be a man. To do all that one would like to do is to be a god. It is the cause, not the death, that makes the martyr. Water, air, and cleanness are the chief articles in my pharmacy. In politics, never retreat, never retract, never admit a mistake. There is one kind of robber whom the law does not strike at, and who steals what is most precious to men: time. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. Victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future. A nation that is afraid to let its people judge the truth and falsehood in an open market is a nation that is afraid of its people. Things do not happen. Things are made to happen. Conformity is the jailer of freedom and the enemy of growth. Mankind must put an end to war before war puts an end to mankind. Physical fitness is not only one of the most important keys to a healthy body, it is the basis of dynamic and creative intellectual activity. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty. The ignorance of one voter in a democracy impairs the security of all. Israel was not created in order to disappear. Israel will endure and flourish. It is the child of hope and the home of the brave. It can neither be broken by adversity nor demoralized by success. It carries the shield of democracy and it honors the sword of freedom. For in the final analysis, our most basic common link is that we all inhabit this small planet. We all breathe the same air. We all cherish our children's futures. And we are all mortal. I am the man who accompanied Jacqueline Kennedy to Paris, and I have enjoyed it. We are not afraid to entrust the American people with unpleasant facts, foreign ideas, alien philosophies, and competitive values. For a nation that is afraid to let its people judge the truth and falsehood in an open market is a nation that is afraid of its people. A child miseducated is a child lost. There is always inequality in life. Some men are killed in a war and some men are wounded and some men never leave the country. Life is unfair. The best road to progress is freedom's road. Let the word go forth from this time and place to friend and foe alike, that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans, born in this century, tempered by war, disciplined by a hard and bitter peace. Once you say you're going to settle for second, that's what happens to you in life. We must use time as a tool, not as a couch. History is a relentless master. It has no present, only the past rushing into the future. To try to hold fast is to be swept aside. I just received the following wire from my generous daddy. Dear Jack, don't buy a single vote more than is necessary. I'll be damned if I'm going to pay for a landslide.